Good morning and welcome to Smokes and Bakes. Today we're doing a sirloin cap, or commonly called picanha. It's a relatively newly popular cut, done for smoking, and I treat it a lot like a brisket. And give you a bit of an idea of the size of what it looks like. It's got a bit of a fat cap there, and I'm just going to take it out of its plastic, pat it down really dry, and then put it on a binder and some rub. Okay, as you can see, I've got the surface kind of prepped. We've got plastic wrap underneath the parchment paper, and that way the surface remains nice and clean, makes it easier. And you can see I've got the fat side up. Doesn't really matter what side you start with when you're seasoning it, as long as you do season it. And we're going to go with Frank's Red Hot as a binder, and then the OG seasoning blend, which is a mixture that I got from Miller's Meats. I've tried it before, and it's really, really good. I love using Frank's hot sauce as a binder because it gives it a great flavor with just a slight bit of tolerable heat. And I'm a bit of a suck when it comes to too hot and spicy, but also the vinegariness, if that's a word. If it isn't, I just invented it. Helps tenderize the meat and gives it a great flavor and great smell. So we just put on a little bit of binder first. Then we're going to spread it out with one hand and use the other hand for grabbing things so that it stays clean. And as you notice, I've got gloves on, and that just helps, well, it keeps your hands clean, and it helps keep your food more sanitary. So you kind of rub your meat all over with the binder, getting a good coating of seasoning right after, and you just shake it nice and liberally. Because it's not just for the flavor, you're also wanting to develop a really good crust. So I'll give you a bit of a better view afterwards. And you want to kind of try and get everywhere that you can, and really quite liberally. It doesn't wind up over salting the meat at all, but it gives it that nice, nice good crust and great flavor. Typically, I like to do it overnight so that you get a it's kind of like the idea of a dry marinade. So you get the most flavor as possible into the meat. This one here is about a 4 or 5 pound piece, and it's just beautiful. It's like kind of like a brisket, but smaller, and excellent steak flavor. Whereas I find brisket is a bit more like a roast flavor, even if you're smoking it or barbecuing it. And we're gonna do the same thing to both sides. Flip it over. You can kind of, as you're going along, any sort of excess rub that's spilt, get that on the sides. And then you're gonna, well, so much for my one glove, one clean theory. I'm not the brightest, but at least I'm good looking and I know how to cook. So again, just rub with one hand and get that binder all over the place. It's just a gorgeous piece of meat, and you can quite easily feed 3 adults and maybe even have a little bit of leftovers depending on how hungry you are. So I'll grab this with my offhand, I guess, and that way you're just not getting any hot sauce or anything else on the jar of rub itself. So, and again, same liberal coating on the one side as you did on the fat cap side. And I might even, making sure not to waste anything, I might even put a little bit more on right before I put it on the smoker, or with whatever's left on the actual parchment paper itself. I might redo it. And I always, when I'm putting it in the fridge, I always leave it fat cap side up. There's some different schools of thought. Some people like to go fat side down, but not me. Not me. I like to leave the fat side up on any cut of meat that I'm smoking or barbecuing, because that way when it renders, it just renders downwards into the meat, and it's less likely to cause any flare-ups in the smoker. And it just, with the hot sauce rub and the rub, that fat just gets crispy, sweet, and smoky. It's just absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to take my gloves off at this point, kind of like I would at work, or like you see nurses and doctors do, one on inside the other. Just helps to keep your hands clean. And then I'm actually going to, now that I flipped it over, I'm actually going to put a little bit more rub on the fat cap side. So I'm going to do a little bit more on the fat cap side. Just try to get a real equal coating. Not too much more because I already put a good bit on there. And now that I've got it like this, I can easily wrap it up, put it in the fridge. I'll still put it on top of a plate so that nothing leaks out. And like I said, normally I will do this for overnight sit. And that way, just the longer it sits on, the more that flavor gets in that meat. And I've got 2 pieces of plastic wrap underneath the parchment paper. Wrap that over, and nice and neat, less leaks in the fridge, which nobody wants. And that'll sit all day until I'm ready to put it on the smoker. See you in a few hours.